Hey, it's Dr. B, and I'm here with Pink. Oops. And I gotta watch that so it doesn't move. She bumps it. So, today I'm here to talk about one of the topics on the poll that I did a while back. In fact, it's been a while. I asked you all what were some of the biggest issues that you had challenges with, that you wanted help with, and the top one, I believe, I didn't check it today, but the top one had to do with organizing your stuff. Also on the list was organizing your thoughts, which I won't talk about today, but I will in a few days. But I'm going to talk about stuff. So let's start with, what's your motivation for wanting to organize your stuff? And what does that really even mean? Because organizing has got a ton of moving parts, and for you to do it, you've got to be motivated. And what is motivation? Motivation to me is motive, reason, good enough reason, having a good enough reason to take action. So if you've got a bunch of stuff everywhere, but you don't have good enough reason to take action to do something about it, until you get a good enough reason, you're probably not going to take action and organize. And before I get into organizing and talking about what you can do, first, there's usually a pre-step to organizing, which is purging. Purging extra stuff. Because most of the people I work with, students, clients, they have more stuff than the amount of space that they have to organize it in. For example, they have this much stuff and this much space to put that stuff in. And there's no way, obviously, that stuff is going to fit in that amount of space. So if I was to help them, or you, if that's you, to organize your stuff, it's still going to be overflowing and it isn't going to fit in the amount of space that you have. So first, before you can even organize it, which means, to me, that it's organized into some kind of system, your system, and in that system, you know where to find your stuff. Your system may not be like anybody else's system, and that's okay for how you want to organize your stuff. It just has to work for you. It has to be easy, convenient. It doesn't have to be anything, but I'm suggesting it be easy and convenient and make sense to you so that you can easily find your stuff when you need to and when you want to, and you can put it away in its home when you're done. And done doesn't mean 2-3 weeks from now. Done means probably at the end of the day or a couple of days, because otherwise, it's like planting little seeds and all of a sudden they sprout, poof, and all of a sudden there's tons and tons. Hi there. There's more and more stuff that's accumulating because stuff got left out. So, in terms of organizing, if we roll back and we first talk about getting rid of more stuff, getting rid of the stuff that isn't essential, that you haven't been using or you don't love, depending on what criteria you want to use. And this can sound like a massive, overwhelming project to do that. Like, where do I start? What do I let go of? What's the criteria precisely? What is the criteria for letting go of things? Because if it's clothes, it could be size, it could be how worn it is, it could be style, it could be any number of things depending on what is the criteria you set. If it's papers, again, it could be the year. It could be what kind of paper it is, documentation you need for taxes or things that's just a random note that you wrote something down. It depends. Having criteria makes the job a whole lot easier. So let's say that you get rid of your extra stuff. And now we get to the topic, which is today's topic, about organizing. and you have this much stuff, this much space, and you're asking me, so where do I start and how do I organize it? And again, whatever system you're going to create to organize is going to depend on your preferences. I just bathed Pink today and there's still fur everywhere, even with brushing and combing her. So in terms of organizing, there's so many different ways, and visual overwhelm basically will just trash most people's good intentions because they just see too much all at once. They don't know where to start. It's like a huge, huge mountain, and they just say, forget it, and they walk out or they run away because they just don't know how to enter that mountain of stuff. So one of the things that I learned to do in terms of organizing when I had a lot of stuff to organize and needed to give things homes and they didn't have homes yet is I couldn't look at everything all at once. It was too visually overstimulating for me, and I just wanted to walk out of the room. So there's a couple of options in terms of what I've done previously in different situations. One is I basically took a sheet, multiple sheets, and put it over all of the stuff that needed to be organized because I didn't want to see all that stuff because it was too many things, too visually stimulating for me. And covering it up didn't mean I was in denial and I wasn't going to know that it was there because I knew it was there. It was just to remove all that visual stimulus, all the individual little things that caused me to be visually overwhelmed. So that's one strategy I took in order to neutralize that before I got started. The other is in places where I've lived or worked where there was extra space, like an extra room, I would basically take all the extra stuff that didn't have a home and I'd move it into that spare room or that spare space. And then I would organize all the other spaces because they would be clean and clear and easy to do. And then I would go to that room or that space like once a week, set time aside in my schedule, go there. I'd probably still cover things with sheets. I'd take out a little section of stuff at a time each time that I had this appointment with myself to go through the stuff and purge things and then save what I'm going to save to organize and give it homes in the existing space that was clean. And so basically I put this on my schedule, whether it was an hour, whether it was 2 hours, once a week, let's say. And that's what I did. And because I wasn't just going to say, oh, this is a 10-hour job or a 2-week job, and I'm going to do it all at once just to get rid of it, because that means 10 days or 2 weeks of my life got put on hold, and that doesn't work because now you're behind on the 10 days or 2 weeks of your life because you put everything on hold to do the organizing from the past, but now you have stuff from the present that's now the past, and now you have to catch up on that. And it's just like Groundhog Day, and I just don't want to keep doing that. So when I look at things and I think of as debt, something that's outstanding from the past, and I have a new way of doing things in the present, I want to gradually deal with the debt, whether the debt is clutter, the debt is disorganization, whatever it is, doesn't have to be money. And I allot a certain amount of time in my weekly schedule, so that I can take care of it a week at a time, a day at a time. However I book out my time, whatever's available that I can give to it. And over time, it's all going to get done. It's all going to get sorted. It's all going to get put away, thrown away, shred, organized, whatever needs to happen to it, but not by putting everything else on hold. And so organization, you can organize, again, it has to be your criteria, and it depends what we're talking about. You can organize by color, you can organize by size, you can organize by convenience. When I organized my kitchen after my kitchen was redone, That meant giving new homes to everything in my kitchen because everything was different. And so I got to walk through the kitchen and walk through it in my mind and think, so where would I be going for glass for water? And where would I go for silverware? And where would I go for my pots and pans? Where is it convenient to me, the cook in the kitchen? And those are the places I put things. Does that mean my kitchen is organized the way someone else would organize the kitchen? Heck no. But it's organized for me because that's where I think of when I think of pots, pans, silverware, glass for water, anything like that, and I put them where it makes sense to me. And the same thing with filing. When you're filing papers away, if you do that, and for example, do you call it automobile, car, vehicle? What do you call it? Okay. In books on organizing, they talk about labeling it all different kinds of things for a file. But for me, if I'm teaching you, it's what do you call it? What do you call it? You know, because that's what the file should be called, because you will remember that's what you call it, that's where the papers go, and you'll be able to find them. Not some formal name for a file that isn't what you call it, not what you think about, and so you just can't even remember where it is because it's foreign to you, it's not your language, it's not how you organize, it's not your association, and it's ridiculous to call it something that isn't the words that you use and isn't how you associate. I'm not going to go through a whole house or a whole system, but I think you get the point. If I circle back, in order to organize, first, what's your motivation? What is the good enough reason to take action to organize? And do you need to take the pre-step to reduce what you need to organize, i.e. clutter or excess? Because the amount of stuff that you have will not fit in an organized manner in the amount of space that you have if you have this much stuff and this much space. It isn't going to work, and you're going to have to reduce the amount of stuff so that we can get it organized. And then let's say that now you have the amount of stuff and the amount of space basically the same. Now you start to create your criteria for how are you going to organize it? By theme, by color, by size, by what? By frequency, by convenience of this is where I would reach, this is where I would go. My themes for organizing are basically convenience. In my office, I have a little Pendaflex drawer for my desk to my left side, and anytime I want to get to papers or files that I use often would be at least several times during the week, sometimes even daily, those files go in that Pendaflex drawer, and I just reach over, I get it, I'm still in my chair, and I take care of what I need to, and then I put the file back in there. I don't leave it on the desk, because otherwise it's going to get mixed up with a bunch of other things, and I don't want that to happen. So I take it out, I use it, I put it back. That's also called task completion. So that's how I organize papers. The papers that I file that I don't use every day or every week, those are in my garage. I have file cabinets there. I take my filing out each week and I file it. And it goes in the drawers and it's done. I don't do it every single day. I have a section in my office, a little space where the filing goes, and at the end of the week, I file. That's what's easiest for me. Why? Because every time I make a transition from this to this to this to this, it eats up time. It also makes me have to shift my brain and think about something new, which takes up time, and I have to get oriented to the new thing, and that takes time. And I'm just not willing to spend my time on a ton of transitions every single day and get less done. So less transitions, more done, an easier time. So good enough reason, your motivation. See if the amount of stuff you want to organize is the same as the space that you have to organize it in. If it's not, you're going to have to reduce what you have. And once you reduce it, then you can start to organize it, and you want to organize it according to your criteria, which could be whatever words you associate, whatever themes you associate. It's like how I organize my closet. I have 2 bars, an upper bar and a lower bar for tops, and I organize those by seasons, where the one up at the top, like right now we're still in winter here in California, such as it is, and so the bottom bar is for fall and winter, and right now the upper bar is for all the tops that are for spring and summer. And when the weather starts to get warmer here, I will move everything from the top bar to the bottom and the bottom to the top, because it's just much easier, given my height, to just reach in and take what I want from the lower bar as opposed to the top all the time. So that's how I do it. I'm not saying it's right. It's what works for me. It's what's easy for me. It's what makes sense for me. I do my clothes according to colors, so that I reach in and I say, what do I want to wear today? Sapphire blue. I reach in, I see, what do I have in sapphire blue? And I choose something from that color, and I'm done. I try to limit the amount of decisions that I have to make in any given day to as few as possible, because I make bulk decisions. And that's what I also found makes it a lot easier and less transitions for me, and less of that decision fatigue that so many of us get. So that's what I have for you today on organizing and what is your motivation to get organized at all. And I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be talking again, probably about organization, maybe of thoughts or something else relevant to things that will help you. For those of you who showed up live, thank you so much for supporting my live videos. For those that'll watch the replay, thanks for showing up and watching the replay. I'd love it if you guys would comment below about organizing your stuff, any questions that you have, techniques and strategies that you personally use that work for you, or if you're stuck and you need something, ask a question in the comment section under the video when I post it in just a minute, and I'm happy to comment and help. So I'll see you tomorrow. I've got more good topics and good strategies coming your way, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.